So here, you want to talk about this show briefly?
Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. Now, this was a show they were building up. They had a big lineup. They had a big crowd. I think I'll double check what the final crowd
I
was.
think it was 4,000 people, I believe.
Over 4,000, I believe, were distributed. So I don't know how many were there. But for AEW, for anyone right now, this is a pretty nice crowd. So let's talk about what the crowd saw.
Well, the first words you hear on the program are from Sockface, and it's horrible because now I think you hear an element of panic in his voice because he's trying even harder than he used to try, which was too hard. And now he's growling it. Oh, it's so big. And the match they start with is Magnum Hangnail Page and Swerve Strickland, where the winner gets Samoa Joe for the AEW title. And of course, there is the question to be asked of how many fucking times do we have to see these two, especially when Swerve won the first two, and they've done everything possible. Remember, they broke concrete blocks over each other, terrorized their babies, intermingled their bodily fluids together. They're blood brothers. Wonder how that's going to get over at Christmas dinner. But anyway, nobody likes the empty-headed dipshit, trademark. He's bland and boring, and the people boo him because they don't want him to succeed at anything, and they kind of want him to go away. And the announcers were trying to, Swerve has never beaten Page fair and square. No, he's just beating him over and over. But the fans are chanting Swerve's house, and Page asks for cheers and gets booed. And they start a feeling out period where for about a minute and a half or so, they're feeling each other out in the course of starting their match. And then suddenly they go to the floor, they go over the rail, and they started doing what they always do. And every time Hangnail would do something of any consequence offensively, the fans would boo him, and they were chanting and cheered for Swerve. And after 5 minutes in, it's the same shit, right? And I just couldn't. I was like fast forwarding. I'm like, they're going to get to something sooner or later. And at 22 minutes into the program, they were out fighting on top of the barricade, and Swerve tried to pile drive Page on top of the barricade, but Page instead did some kind of sloppy DDT, and they went to the break. It's 23 minutes into the fucking program. They're just now going to a break, and this match is still going on. And they come back, and it keeps going forever. And they pulled out a table, but then they just leave it there because they're going to come back and use it later on. So now the deal is, if they've set a table up, the match can never end until they've gone through the table, right? When's the last time anybody set one up and they didn't use it?
That's a big heel move. I would never do that.
Well, you're a complete fucking idiots. You're burying your own shit. Now, whatever you do till somebody goes through that stupid fucking table, it ain't going to count. So, at one point, Page gave Swerve the dead eye, his thing. He picks the guy up over and he drops him on his head on the apron of the ring. But while Swerve's laying there selling on the fucking ground, Nana revived him with his dance. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as Nana does that, Page comes out, takes a chair, and whacks the fuck out of the heel manager, and the crowd boos. The crowd booed the babyface hitting the heel manager with a chair. Brian, when did you ever in my career, on tape, live, in any promotion, in any company, anywhere that I was a heel in, hear anyone boo the babyface for striking me in a violent fashion?
Maybe like Philadelphia, but even there were enough babyface fans that they would overpower. It's just you would hear some heel fans, but...
Yeah. And only when it was Laurinaitis. Come to think of it. Because the people in Philadelphia are Nostradamuses, every single one of them. So then...
But I think the other thing is you have to acknowledge Adam Page is the heel. The Elite are heels. I mean, the Young Bucks are heels. Adam Page is in the Elite. Adam Page is a heel. You could tell he grew out his mustache. Dax must be jealous. Grew out pretty quick and thick. And Swerve and Nana are clearly baby faces.
That's because Page eats a lot of shit, so it's got fertilizer.
And Swerve and Nana are clearly baby faces. And who doesn't like an elderly dancing man?
And he's not elderly. He's not even as old as me.
I'm kidding.
The elderly dancing man. He's not like he's Don Cornelius ready to fucking turn to dust. We love you, Nana. But no, the point is nobody's presented that way because it's nobody turns until the people start booing them, and then they're like, "Uh-oh, I better be bad now." And it doesn't make sense, and it hasn't been. There are no linear stories being told. They wave, they flap in the breeze like a flag.
But anyway, Swerve being turned babyface by committing robbery and breaking and entering is one of the great moments in AEW history.
Too bad there wasn't a baby he could kick on the way into the building. They'd have carried him out on their shoulders.
Don't kick the baby.
Don't kick the baby. So later on, they're back on the apron. Swerve gives Page his own move, the Deadeye, off the apron through the table. So the fucking... Not only did the fucking heel was the one to set up the table, but then the heel is the one who should be the babyface, who is the babyface, that uses on the babyface that is the heel his own move off the apron through the table. But then after he has dropped the man on his head through the table to the floor off the apron, he rolls Page in and goes for the stomp off the top rope, and Page moves after the table spot. And 15 seconds later, Page is up on the apron, springing over, doing a flip, going for the buckshot. After he just got fucking thrown headfirst through it. How not only are the talents involved in this match, and I use that term loosely, even for Swerve at this moment, mentally, they're fucking delusional. And they need to be at least fined and disciplined, if not outright told, you're goddamn morons. But there's nobody there to do that because nobody's fucking that giant dog. Tony's just holding its head and it's humping the chair leg in the living room in front of the mother-in-law.
All right.
So anyway, he goes for the buckshot. And Swerve foils it and hits some kind of goddamn fucked up finish move, I don't know what, and cover, and the bell rings at the 2 count. And somebody, by the way, I believe said on the internet it was actually 30 minutes and 6 seconds or whatever because they had to get the bell at the 2 count, and they couldn't. They got a referee that's wired, and it's doable if you got fucking guys that can do it, but they didn't get it.
The timekeeper wanted the Rock and Roll Express to win.
Well, there you go. Charleston, South Carolina all over again. But did they announce, because I admit that I did fast forward much of this marathon fucking fiasco, but did they ever talk about, did you hear in the arena, they called a time, 5 minutes left, 15 minutes expired, any kind of, did the announcers on TV, but not for the live crowd? Or did they just ring the bell like a bunch of indie marks out of nowhere and piss the crowd off because the crowd booed like crazy when they got the fucking bell and it's a time limit draw out of nowhere?
Everyone hates a draw. Every fan hates a draw, even if it furthers what's happening. But I don't even remember if they announced it in the introductions. You know, this match is a 30-minute time limit. They may have, and I just don't recall.
Well, I'm sure they probably did in the introduction, and you hear the introductions all the time. But the point is, and we covered this the last time they did something stupid like this, where it pisses the people off if they don't know, if they're not kept apprised that they're coming close to the time. It's like Ring of Honor until I stop them. would have a match. It would just go 20 minutes and the people would be loving it. And suddenly the bell would fucking ring. I said, why didn't you make any goddamn announcement? 3 minutes remaining, 2 minutes remaining, build the drama. They said, well, but then they'll know we're going to a draw. I said, so then you work this hard for 20 minutes or whatever, and the people boo the finish because they didn't even know it was coming and they feel like it's just a cheap way to fuck them in the ass. Instead of 3 minutes remaining, oh God, one of them might win. 2 minutes, oh God, one of them might win. 1 minute, oh God, the false finish, oh my God, ding, 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 wow. They almost had it. Or shades of goddamn incredulity. Go 19 minutes and 30 seconds and do a backslide 1, 2, 3, and then that gets you through the next 2 or 3 time limit draws before you need to do it again. It's a work. Fuck.
And remember, though, to be fair to them, we don't know because I don't remember hearing it, and I didn't necessarily, I may have fast-forwarded a bit too, but in the past they have announced it in the room and we didn't hear it at home watching TV, but they did do it the right way.
Okay, then that's an indictment of this lousy announce team for not building the drama and giving a fucking hand job without a happy ending to the dwindling television audience who are going, well, what the fuck? If there was a time limit, why didn't they tell us it was coming up? It's just not professional. It's indie. It's outlaw. It's fucking small-time wrestling. If you're going to do 30 minutes between 2 top guys, there ought to be a clock on the screen for the last 2 minutes while they're goddamn exchanging backslides and fucking crucifixes and roll-ups and all this other shit in a scramble to win this thing instead of setting up fucking furniture or going for fucking forward flips after they've been paralyzed by being thrown through goddamn solid oak onto concrete. Then you might build some drama and some tension. If anybody gives a shit about who wins the match to begin with.
Once again, 30-minute time limit draw, Swerve and Adam Page, and of course that now means...
then, no, it ain't over.
That's what I was saying.
It ain't over.
Yes.
Because Swerve, the heel, who's the baby face, takes the microphone and demands 5 more minutes. And Paige is selling and laughing and says, you had to beat me. Well, it's over. And so the babyface doesn't agree to the 5 minutes because he said, fuck it. You had to, not because he wants to win meritoriously, but because no. And then Tony Schiavone busts in immediately and said, well, wait a minute. I just talked to Tony Khan. When you're on fucking headset on the goddamn announce team, and you had this much time to have this goddamn intricate conversation with the boss in the last 30 seconds, where it's going to be a 3-way at the pay-per-view. And then Paige gets mad and Swerve is happy. And so the heel is happy and the babyface is whining, and
it's reversed.
And it's reversed, and we're 40 minutes into the program, and we've ended up, what did I say, almost a month ago? They can probably make people want to see what's going to happen between Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland and watch Tony be a mark and stick this fucking boring piece of shit in the way so that neither one of them gets over and the match is diluted and the attraction is diminished.
Watch Tony go a step further and put the belt on Adam Page.
Would that just be a signal? Fuck it. I've turned it over to them and their friends and they can do what they want. I quit. Tony will never quit.
For now, I think Tony he's like a little flitty. He goes back and forth between which group he likes to give power to at the moment.
Well, and then, obviously, do you have anything else to say about this, what we just saw before we move along?
No, I just think it's untraditional how they got here, but Swerve Strickland is the babyface, clearly. There's no ambiguity about it other than the fact that he is a heel stable and his manager is with the, well, he's a babyface, and Adam Page and his giant mustache is clearly the heel. And he's behaving like a heel. The 5-minute thing after the match, that's a babyface move. How they got here is weird, but Swerve's the babyface.
Well, and in Swerve's manager, Nana, when he's with Swerve, they like Nana. But then Nana comes out with the rest of the, gang, and whoever, I can't remember their names, all Cage is in there, and the Samoan guy, whatever the fuck, Tia Leone,
Tin
he's one of them.
linoleum. Oh, that was it.
Yeah, linoleum. And then he's against baby faces, and they're supposed to boo them then, but Nana brings some element of likability to the stiff brigade. And all right. So they went back, and Renee Moxley Good talked to Samoa Joe, who reacts to the three-way, and he's a great promo and a convincing looking guy, and I feel so bad. He deserves so much better. I don't know why when they last let him go from NXT or whatever they had done to him, or whatever the problem was there, I wish to fuck that they had seen what value there is there, because he'd be refreshing on that show. He's just stranded on this one. And then we had Tony Storm and Red Velvet. Brian, what were your thoughts on that contest?
I didn't watch it.
Well, in that case, that makes two of us. Yes, she's an interesting young lady, but at this point, for fuck's sake, we've got
Red Velvet, right?
Well, no, Tony Storm is interesting. We've said that, but also we knew what was going to happen here, and we've got billionaires under federal investigation we got to research. So, in the first hour, we've had 40 minutes of what we had and Tony Storm and Red Velvet. And at the 9 o'clock hour, they think it's a good idea to hook the viewers in and just, get people talking by having a 6-man tag team match with Plummer Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Bryan Danielson against 3 unknown luchadors from Mexico wearing masks that look interchangeable with the other people they have on this program that wear masks. What the fuck?
You're looking at it the wrong way. The guys in the match are really excited to participate in the match. And this is a way you could build towards a great relationship with CMLL, perhaps a new Forbidden Door, not just AEW versus New Japan, AEW versus Arena Mexico.
Wait a minute. Hold on one second. Let me just do what I was just thinking is.
Oh. Excuse me.
So, for 20 minutes at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, 3 people that we've never seen and can't tell apart wrestled. The 3 guys that, bless Bryan Danielson, at one time he was so good. Oh, those nostalgic days. Feel like playing the Boys of Summer in the background while I remember how good Danielson was at one point in time. And then there's poor Claudio, but to Plummer, we've seen all there is to see. And finally, another 3 unknown masked luchadors came into the ring. Everybody stared at each other. And then here came Christopher Daniels and Mac Daddy and the other jobbers to hit the ring to bolster the American crew, and all 6 of the Mexican fellers bailed out, and nothing happened. And that was 20 fucking minutes on national television. And Brian, you were asking me at the top of this segment if it wasn't just that the WWE would overpower anything right now. This did not have the drawing power it would necessitate to pull a greasy string out of a cat's ass. So I don't know that it would need all of the current scandals and chaos up in Titanland to overshadow this. Do you?
AEW is appealing more and more to the smallest core fan they have. And I think it doesn't drive away everyone right away, but the more you start putting, and it's not about luchadors, it's about anyone, just faceless people on that show for longer matches or bigger moments, No build-up. No one knows who anyone is. I don't understand what they're doing.
Well, and it's again, and the luchador thing is not even. Don't try somebody tell me, oh, he's so racist. They have Caucasian American people that are wearing luchador outfits also, or have had on their roster in the past. And they all begin to look the same. It's like, I've seen this fucking, is this the guy that used to wear green? He looks, but now he's an orange. I don't fucking know. Because everybody's not a goddamn expert on every wrestling promotion in the world, nor do they want to be or have time to be, which is why everybody's wondering what's going to happen between Cody Rhodes and fucking Roman Reigns, and nobody's wondering what's going to happen between the Plumbers, BBC, and CMLL OUSE. And then, did I miss something? Brian, I saw in the back, Adam Cole is sitting in his chair because he remains crippled. After the devil was revealed, we found out that Lucifer, Mephistopheles, Old Scratch himself, the devil, Satan, can't walk. He's disabled. Satan needs a hover-round. Oh, he's scary. I can't run in from the devil trying to save my soul. Can't nobody catch me because I'm never too slow. You wouldn't need the Ohio players to run away from this devil. He can't walk. So he's sitting in a chair in the back of the building, and his henchmen are around him, and they have captured Muffin Top Taylor. And he is writhing in pain at their feet at whatever they've done to him and they're about to do to him. And then they went to a break. Did we ever find out where the police called? Did we ever see Muffin Top again? Did we ever see the henchman? I'm looking at my notes. Did the henchman appear again? What the fuck was that?
I'm not sure. I think there was a promo before this with Trent and Orange Cassidy and Rocky Romero, but no Chuck. And then Chuck got attacked by Adam Cole and his friends.
Yes, but they went to commercial break. The Taylor is down. The man is down. He's been the victim of an assault and battery, a kidnapping, felonious fucking assault. And then nobody ever says a goddamn word about it. Not, you don't come back. The police are there. They're taking statements. Just the facts, ma'am. So they came back to Tony Khan's big announcement. And you know what he said, don't you, Brian?
He brought it back. He said, thanks, guys. He did it twice. He did it twice in it.
Start and finish.
That's right. It's a big move.
It's great.
That's for great, not thanks, guys.
Well, it's a great thing that he brought back thanks, guys. Anyway, the big announcement, bastard. They return to Boston, Beantown, on March 13th with AEW Big Business. And the S's, or at least a couple of them in business, are the dollar signs. And they do where Boston is BOSSTON. They're trying to drop subtle hints that the former, what was her name? Sasha Banks. Say Banks, boss, business, money.
Mercedes Moné.
Now Mercedes Moné, get it? Money, eh? They're dropping some subtle hints. What are you laughing at?
Oh, you're so white sometimes. It's amazing.
What I'm talking about? I don't speak French. I'm sorry if my accent is off. Aren't people white in France too?
Money, eh? What was that?
Well, Monet is kind of like French for money, right?
All right.
You better give me my Monet.
Monet.
I'll kick your ass, eh?
Moolah. Moolah's
Moolah. See, there you go. Wouldn't that be great if she was still alive? They had big business with the dollar signs, and they bring in, here she is, the fabulous Moolah. Fucking people would riot. All 12 of them. But anyway, Tony's reading off the teleprompter, but at least he's blinking now. They must have. Do you think they'd, like on that Star Trek episode where the leader of the country was a puppet that was anesthetized? And do you think they're giving Tony a shot now before he does his announcements?
He was almost getting like angry in tone. Like he was almost spitting out what he was saying and trying to look as confident as he can while he's clearly reading it off of something.
But anyway, they're putting some Monet, on that old Sasha Banks. He's going to be a needle mover. This is going to be a big change, big difference. What a game changer. The difference maker. You know, boy, this is going to be the biggest impactful AEW signing since Paige or Kota Ibushi. I promise you.
Real quick, before we get off this, let's talk about the results, because as we are recording, it's a few days later, tickets went on sale. AEW Dynamite Big Business, Wednesday, March 13th, according to WrestleTix. Current available tickets, 1,230. Current setup, 6,831. Tickets distributed, 5,601.
Well, but now, question is...
32 days until the show. The last time they were there was last July for Blood and Guts. They drew 8,900 people.
When did the tickets go on sale?
They went on sale Friday, I believe.
Aha! So that was after the announcement.
After the announcement.
But at the same time, the last time they were there, they were 8,900. So for her to, well, but at the same, they're not doing anything like what they've done the last time they've been anywhere, if that is in any kind of English. They're down everywhere. So this would be, I would think she has made some impact there. So good for them.
It's the Punk business model. You debut her in her hometown. You get as much as you can out of that first time, but you got to find something to capitalize on. So it's not just a one-time thing and then she's just lost in the mix the next week.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I hope she makes all the million whatever dollars that Tony is paying her for her contract back on the first gate in Boston there, because in 6 weeks, she's going to be one of the girls, right? Because that's what happens to everybody. And it's not related to their talent or lack thereof. It's that everybody that comes in settles into this kind of generic indie presentation, don't they? There's no stars here.
Well, it'll be a big test. Again, they have a month until the show. They have a lot of time to sell tickets. You know, you got to think at least the first night it'll be a big deal, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Well, in the meantime, here's a big deal that they could have had, but I don't know what's going on at this point. Chris Jericho versus our boy, I'll just say it once, take a shit.
Takeshita.
But then I'll refer to him as our boy Take from here on out because we like him. He's talented.
So we'll say his name, Takeshita.
The leech of the overness of anyone in AEW, Chris Jericho, was in full force and effect. A single match between him and Jericho. And yes, I understand that, you know, Jericho wants to show that he can still go with the young kids. But the problem is, Take has not been presented yet as anything like a threat to the top level singles that he could be, because we've seen him so intermittently and frequently. He's been in tags and in goofy garbage matches. This guy has talent, and he, unlike any of the other Japanese imports that they brought in, he's not so old and decrepit. He's ready for the rocking chair out in front of Cracker Barrel. He's not so minute that he's ready for Cowboy Lang's fucking opponent on Lord Littlebrook's fucking midget troupe. He has some charisma and ability and size and moves. And yes, it would have been great if he had as soon as they debuted him, they had a coherent and focused push behind him. He'd be a main event guy, I think, in their company now. But no, you can't take over by having him have to slow down to work with Jericho and then put him over Jericho by Jericho getting hit in the head by the screwdriver from the goofy manager. This is all about Jericho. This is not about Takeshita. Tell me I'm wrong.
You must really mean it. No, it's completely the problem. Takeshita turned heel, showed a lot of promise, turned heel, showed a whole lot of promise. What has he done since then? He's done nothing to break away from the pack, held down by this callous crap, tag matches. He beat Jericho. Did it mean anything?
Does
it help him? Did it really push him any further?
No. It was just another garbage match, and we'll tell y'all what happened in a second. But in generics, this is the guy that should be Nakamura in the WWE. They should be doing videos where he speaks forcefully and confidently in Japanese, his native language, and they put the subtitles up, and he's in a fucking appropriate location with atmosphere. He's somebody, he's dressed up. Maybe he's instead of the fucking goddamn nice restaurant that the Escobar crowd is in over there with people dining around them, the focus is on him. He's in a goddamn fucking luxurious fucking hotel suite. And he's saying these things dressed up as somebody, and then they're translated on the subtitles. And he's beating people in singles matches left and right. And instead, he wanders around with the rest of these goofy groups. And Hobbs is in the same situation. He could be treated with the same concept and completely different looks as Takeshita. But that's the thing with Jericho. They have a match, 1 minute in, they're out on the floor. He gives Jericho a brainbuster on the floor, picks him up and rolls him in, and the match continues. So the brainbuster on the floor is a heat spot at this point now on a 50-something-year-old man.
Don't you need a brain for the brainbuster to actually have an effect on you?
It's the neck. They just named it.
I know. I'm making a joke about Jericho's lack of brains.
Well, no, I was trying to actually, what you said, you raised a valid point, but unfortunately, if it was something that would attack the brain instead of the neck, Jericho would be impervious.
Should the fans contact Stephen Pinu to sue the brainbuster for false advertising?
1-877-50-STEVE. But anyway, so then Hobbs tripped Jericho, and then Sammy comes down and hits Hobbs with a chair, and Hobbs doesn't sell it, so Sammy gives him a cutter on the floor, and then hits him over the head with the chair, and they fight off. They fight off, and that's not even the end of the fucking match. They're not even to the break spot yet. Because once they do that, then Jericho, for whatever reason, puts on the kabuki mask that Takeshita wears down to the ring, right? That's what it was. And he climbs up on the top rope and dives off the top to the floor at Takeshita, but he can't see because he got the mask on and he missed him by 3 feet. And that was the break spot.
Sure was.
So, I mean, who does these fucking finishes? They did the finish in the middle of the first fucking segment. So then they come back, and to make things even, Takeshita did a cannonball flip over the top rope to the floor on Jericho, missed Jericho by 3 feet. We're right past him. So I fast forwarded to the fucking finish because this was just, the problem was Takeshita's having to slow down for Jericho. Takeshita's having to adjust what he can do because he respects the older veteran, blah, 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 that's leading the match. And that's why Takeshita had to dumb himself down from being able to get over like he can and do things he can do because he's working with Jericho. And that's why I didn't do either one of these guys any good, because people are tired of the goddamn bullshit finish, which is going to happen here in a second. And it didn't get Takeshita any heat, nor did it get Jericho any sympathy, because I think he's past the sympathy point. But Takeshita gives Jericho the spinning blue thunder bomb off the top rope, and they landed in a heap. And that was a 2 count. And then Jericho's up moments later, gets the fucking walls. And Don Fallis slides the chair into the ring without getting in the ring. So the referee just looks over and sees a chair slide into his view and and goes to pick it up and carry it to the other side of the ring from whence it did not came. He doesn't look around to see who threw it. He just picks the chair up and carries it the opposite side of the ring to put it out, while Don gets up on the apron and hits Jericho in the head with the handle of a screwdriver. And then Takeshita got the walls on Jericho, and Jericho tapped. He didn't stab him with the screwdriver because he didn't bleed, and of course that wouldn't make you tap out from the walls of fucking Jericho. So he hit him with the handle of the screwdriver. Well, I can buy that Jericho then crumpled in a heap from getting hit in the head with a goddamn Stanley tool. But then, no, then...
That may not have been his first screwdriver on that day.
It may not have been the first screwdriver at all. But then after you hit the man with the fucking brass knuckles, you get a submission hold on him, and instead of being unconscious and the referee calling it, he taps. He recovered from the screwdriver. Not the screwdrivers, but the screwdriver, only to tap out to the... Good God.
4.25 stars in the Observer.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He loves his Chris Jericho.
He's got to be scared of Jericho. Jericho cutting off his access to the cool kids.
The cool crews.
What the fuck? So this TV match that meant nothing with a past his prime canned ham and a potential future star in another company was better than many Flair and Steamboat matches.
4.25 stars, yeah.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, this assassination of Dave Meltzer's credibility has been brought to you by his own fucking chicken lips.
Well, Jim, on that topic, real quick, let me ask you about this, because a lot of the listeners sent this over. It's a quote apparently from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio about Chris Jericho, that he should only be losing when the losses mean something. Honestly, he needs some wins over top guys right now, because whatever you want to say about him, unless he's going to leave for a while and come back, and this is a comeback for a redemption thing, he's the highest paid guy in the company. And it's like, you really want to protect that investment. If you're paying a guy that much money, you can get anyone to put over these guys. You need to have him lose when the losses mean something. Which is probably exactly what Chris told them.
Oh my God. Where do you even start with this?
We knew that he was, I guess it's news to a lot of people that he's the highest paid guy in the company. We have long been aware of that.
Well, no, that's why the Buckaroos had to say they were the highest paid tag team of all time, because individually they don't get what Heat Sapper over there gets. But where do I even start? No, that is predominantly what Jericho should be doing now, is putting guys over in the end. And sometimes even on the path. Now, this match, if the booking in AEW was proper in any fashion, and Takeshita had been used normally and pushed from the start instead of debuts and turns and forgets and here and there and gone and in the group or whatever the fuck. But if all this had been done correctly up to the start, or up from the start till now, and anybody cared about this shit, and the finish wasn't so badly done, and the manager's interference wasn't so fucking goofy and obvious, and so much of the heat didn't go on the referee or just the promotion in general. This is exactly what Jericho should be doing, is putting a guy like this over. The only caveat being, as I mentioned, besides that, having a match with Jericho doesn't really do Takeshita a lot of good right now because he has to slow down so much for him. But to beat him, okay, if everything else that I said was applicable, instead of this was just another throwaway TV match, because none of those things that I mentioned that you need also applies. But for Dave to what they should be doing right now with Jericho, honestly, I know he's got a 10-year contract, but my God, he looks like this now. What do you think in 2 or 3 years? Tony should be concentrating on Jericho getting in a coherent personal issue with one guy and taking about 3 months. And if you want to give him one to get him back over, okay, but is Chris Jericho about as over now as he's ever going to get? He's still mostly trading on past honors and reputation and his name. But if you want to give him a little program with somebody upper level to get over, and then give him some other focused program to get a young guy over, and then maybe do it again where you give him somebody to get a little win back in the end, and then get some other guy over, and there you've got a fucking year and a half down the road.
But you can't let him book it, because then he'll just do what he always does and take care of himself.
Because he's a fucking glory hog and a goddamn heat sapper. But if you're paying him more than you're paying everybody else, you should be telling him what to fucking do. But that's also another thing. It's not happening in this company. So, but Dave refuses to start with the viewpoint that there's anything wrong whatsoever with AEW, its booking, its presentation, Tony Khan's mind, and or any of his friends' contributions to whatever's going on over there. And then he starts at the point that it's actually a real company where shit makes sense and somebody's in charge. And then he says what ought to be done. But he overlooks the fact that he has based his suppositions in a foundation built in a dream world.
See, the fact is he was saying the truth when he said that you're out of touch. You're out of touch with what he needs to help his business.
Yes, what Dave needs to help his business is more gullible trampoline cowboy aficionados who will follow his drivel, where a throwaway television match involving the aforementioned senior citizen and the aspiring young Japanese prospect is better than Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat because, well, why wouldn't it be? Would you like to move on to the big main event of the AEW Dynamite episode, Brian?
Well, I think we must.
The World Tag Team Championship on the line, the long-awaited showdown, the first time these two teams have ever met. Big Bill and Ricky Starks against Sting and Darby Allin. Tag team title on the line in a tornado match. All four in the ring. Anything goes. No disqualification. Lazy booking. 2 referees to enforce the rules that they don't have. Okay, already the background on this is somehow, and by the way, I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying that now they've painted themselves in a corner where it appears that the Buckaroos are going to beat Sting in his retirement match and win the tag team title in Greensboro. Because how else do you explain what is now going to happen here? Sting announces his retirement match is going to be at their March pay-per-view. This was 6 months ago, right?
A few months ago. I don't remember how many months, but it was a while.
It was months ago. And he's been on a tour around where every time he appears in the city, it's pretty much the last time He's going to be in that city, even though they are not promoting it like that in most cases. And already before announcing who his opponent would be or partners would be or any kind of match, they had sold 15,000 tickets in Greensboro because everybody in Greensboro wants to be there to see Sting's last match. And it's a big thing that they've lucked into that is outselling anything else they got going on. And for whatever else that says, you know, Sting is the one person they've got can sell a decent number of tickets. And then suddenly they come up, instead of giving Sting even a tag match with Sting and Darby, his tag team partner, so there's not, nobody wants Sting to have to go out there and go 15 minutes in a singles match at 63 or whatever he is. But it can't even be Sting and Darby against a couple of heels, or Sting and Darby against FTR in North Carolina, where FTR can carry the whole thing and make Sting look like $1 million.
Or the tag title change.
Wait a minute. Or it couldn't even be Sting as a guest enforcer in a 6-man tag team situation or whatever, where he joins a team that's been wrong. It couldn't be any of these things. Suddenly, the Buckaroos have to stick their noses into this. And all of a sudden, the direction has to go for the tag team titles. Would Sting, Darby says, wouldn't it be great if we won the tag team title before you retired? What? I don't know what. Okay, he says. And then they put the fucking tag team title on him. And then there's the Buckaroos there. What are they going to do? Is Sting and Darby going to win Sting's retirement match? And
Vern Gagne.
And they're going to do a tournament for the tag team title? How have they've done a tournament for everything? It's lame. It's unnecessary. I think the two living tampons intend to try to get heel heat by beating Sting and Darby Allin for the tag team title in Greensboro. Because why else are they even mentioning the tag team title? And why are these two little douche nozzles involved in this to begin with? It makes no business sense. Nobody wanted to see this. Nobody wanted to see them in Sting's last match.
Except maybe Sting, but even if Sting wanted to work with them, you don't have to set it up so that you have this situation where either they win the tag titles and it's apparent what that would be. Like you said, now they're going to get real heat because they got these tag belts. Maybe Adam Page gets his belt.
Either that or they retire as champions,
defeating the new top heel tag team.
Yes.
And again, like you said, either creating a battle royal or a tournament situation, which we don't need on this show again.
And then even if the fucking little twats win that, they lost their first big match after they come out and lay waste to everybody. Well, we'll get there. Let's talk about this tag team title match on TV first. Sting and Darby and Big Bill and Ricky Starks, tornado match. Anything goes. The first time they've ever met. And they tornado, anything goes. 2 referees.
Relaxed rules.
Fuck. I've seen some relaxed fucking things in my life, but this was it was comatose. So anyway, the bell rings, they get in a fight, and immediately all 4 of them fight through the arena and use the garbage cans and the bullshit. And Sting gets up there and everybody stands there and catches him as he jumps off the bleachers. And I said, okay, they're not even going to, this was my notes, they're not even going to try to have a match. I'm fast forwarding to the finish to see how they lose the belts. And they did the garbage for a while that, you know, the indies don't do all of the stuff that they did because the indies can't afford to rent these big buildings where there's no people in them. So they got more space here. But anyway, Sting got the scorpion on Starks, and Big Bill and Darby fell off the apron through a table. Another table. But this time, Big Bill, the 7-foot giant, and Darby Allin, the fucking indestructible babyface, apparently, they're 2 big fucking gaping, yeast-infected pussies next to Paige and Swerve because they just went through a table in the same fucking place. Goddamn, not even an hour before this, they were back up just hopping around in no time. So these two must be just fucking weak, right? And then Starks got out of the Scorpion, but Sting ran into a padless turnbuckle, and Starks hit him with a spear and got a 2 count. And then, of course, my DVR froze, but because it was 10 o'clock and the show should have been over. But I was able to obtain, by nefarious means, because of the preposterosity of what was about to happen next, I'd see it for myself. The Starks hit the spear, got the 2 count, and then went for another spear, and Sting caught him with a Scorpion 1, 2, 3. And confetti falls from the ceiling. And Sting's sons, who are in the front row and have been referred to in various points in the presentation here, they're applauding, and he calls them to come in the ring, and they come in the ring. And everybody's celebrating, having a fine old time. And then these two white douchebags in white suits with white baseball bats come in straight from Cucamonga and beat up Sting and Darby and his sons. Sting's sons dwarfed the Buckaroos. And they just had to fucking roll over, and then Darby gets color, which of course stains the white suits because they stole my concept. And they tried to get heat forever by beating these guys up. And again, when you've led with the baseball bats, and if you need more than 5 shots on a person with a baseball bat and they ever get up again, that it's fake. And it just, nobody was trying to help. It's fucking Sting. Nobody was trying to help. And the announcers, well, the EVPs, they're EVPs. And nobody wants to mess with the EVPs. What the fuck?
Where's Tony?
Well, that's the thing. Tony Khan, within 30 seconds or less, had told Tony Schiavone what to fucking say about the goddamn finish of Swerve and Dipshit, but now Sting is being mutilated and his children emasculated in front of goddamn the monitor that Tony apparently is sitting in front of. He ain't got dick to say. None of the wrestlers come out because they're scared of these 2 little fucking children. Because they're EVPs, then the heat goes on the company. Well, fuck, if they're representing the company and Tony ain't doing it, well, what does Tony have to say about that? It doesn't make sense in either world, real or kayfabe. And they're out there trying to be badasses when the fans know that they're fake little phony fucking twits from Cucamonga. And these guys, Sting has to lay down for them. Sting's sons have to lay down for them. So and the announcers again were saying EVP so much that it was embarrassing. Because it's childish. What? I'm sorry. What?
No, you know what it is too? They lost the time. Because they could have done this We're evil EVPs thing going back to the very beginning. And they never did it right. They're certainly not doing it necessarily right now. But they're introducing this right now when WWE is about to do an evil board member versus the chief creative officer. So it's going to look second rate because WWE is about to do the palace intrigue stuff.
Yes, and with big stars in those positions instead of, indie fucking high school drama class level fucking players like Tony's got. And they could have done it with the people that the fans knew there was something real that went on with, but they were too scared and cowardly and gutless and ballless and dickless and all other type of male appendageless to do that with people that didn't like them and they didn't like them either. So instead they're trying to manufacture fake heat that the people know is fake with people that they know they don't dislike. And it doesn't make sense. And it's just not good. And did they pipe the fake boos in? Because there were a lot of boos, but the people that I saw on screen, their mouths were closed.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't think they were piping them in. I don't know if they have that pipe.
I'd like to see if somebody can go back. I know they may not be able to do it, but somebody go back and take a look and see what you think. There was a lot of booing in the arena without a lot of people moving very far or emitting the openness of their mouths. But nevertheless, so now we're stuck with this thing, Sting and Darby and the Buckaroos at the pay-per-view, and they're going to botch up somehow the one thing they've drawn money with in the past fucking 6 months.
Or they're going to end the pay-per-view with the Young Bucks with the tag belts and Hangman Page with the world belt running out of there and being the heels and hoping that gets people interested. I don't know if that would. Again, WWE's, all the oxygen in the room is going to WWE. But we shall see. This was a big show and they spent a lot of time building it up. How do you think it did?
Well, I've got to just say my comment on what you just said before we go to the ratings is, boy, howdy, I'll tell you what, I don't think Tony got enough oxygen when he was a fetus, is all I've got to say. But nevertheless.
Thank you for jumping in with that expert analysis.
Yes.
It's that kind of analysis you only find here on the Jim Cornette Experience.
I don't know how they could possibly have had as many people watch this program as they did last week's program. It's got to be getting to them sooner or later. I mean, this was a big thing they promoted for quite a while, but it was rotten. I'm sure they started strong and tapered off.
It's a very interesting rating story this week. AEW Dynamite, February 7th, 2024 on TBS, 8 to 10:04 p.m. On average, was watched by 805,000 viewers.
Ouch. Okay, so that's about 30 or 40 down from what they've been doing regularly, which indicates to me people maybe have said, well, we've seen this shit before, but go ahead.
According to WrestleNomics, it is down 2% from last week, which was 818, and it is down 4% from the trailing 4-week average, which is 836.
Well, now we know why their average is trailing. I would almost say trickling.
Once again, these ratings were compiled by WrestleNomics, quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland, 878,000 viewers.
Oh my God, what happened to the Big Bang Theory?
I don't know.
Did the balloon pop on the Big Bang?
Maybe it's an episode everyone hates.
Okay, that was
in my case,
lowest hand. Well, that was the lowest handoff in the history of this program, I think.
Well, we handed off to quarter 2, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m. The continuation of Swerve versus Hangman with picture-in-picture, 780,000 viewers.
Ouch. Okay, they lost 98,000 on that marathon dreariness with Swerve and Page. And I don't see, unless something stabilizes, how they're even going to make their average. Go ahead.
The Silverdome just emptied out and everyone walked out of there. Quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. The continuation of Swerve versus Adam Page with the post-match, an ad break, and a Samoa Joe promo, 838,000 viewers.
Okay, so as soon as the all clear was sounded on Swerve and Page, 58,000 came back. Good Lord, that doesn't say much for. Well, Swerve with a better opponent, you could say something for him, but wow, okay.
Well, we go to quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. Red Velvet versus Tony Storm with picture-in-picture. The post-match with Deonna Purrazzo. The Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero promo. An ad break. And the BCC entrance. 833,000 viewers.
And within 5,000, kind of pretty much the same. But at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, I can't see how they'll gain on a match with complete unknowns.
Well, it is indeed the 9 o'clock hour, quarter 5, the big 9 o'clock hour at 9 to 9:15 p.m. Danielson, Claudio, and Moxley versus Hechicero, Mascara Dorada, and Volador Jr. with picture-in-picture, 826,000 viewers.
Okay, they only lost 7,000. That was not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Nothing to brag about, but they dodged a bullet there.
Well, let's find out where that magic bullet goes in quarter 6, 9:15 and 9:30 p.m.
Thank you, Dr. Ehrlich.
The post-match angle, the Undisputed Kingdom, Chuck Taylor backstage, whatever it was, an ad break, the big Tony Khan announcement, and the start of Chris Jericho versus Konosuke Takeshita, 771,000 viewers.
Yeah. Well, there goes 29, 40, 55,000 more, and I bet you this becomes a trend.
Well, there goes thinking Tony's big announcement is a draw anymore.
Well, they've seen through that. It's a meme now, isn't it? Even with their faithful audience.
Well, Jim, let's see what they meme to do here in the 7th quarter, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. Chris Jericho versus Konosuke Takeshita with picture-in-picture ads and an ad break. 723,000 viewers.
Ouch. Mr. Jericho wanders in and loses him another 48,000. That's over 100,000 in 2 quarters.
The best thing for Chris Jericho is not booking him strongly, it's getting him off TV right now. And finally, quarter 8, and we have an overrun. 9:45 to 10 p.m. Darby Allin and Sting versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks with picture-in-picture. 787,000 viewers. 5-minute overrun with the Young Bucks. 820,000 viewers.
Well, at least, again, Sting, he picked up 64,000. Because they knew that was the main event. They'd been advertising it. People must have come back and said, we'll fucking come back when that starts. And then, then they get the artificial overrun from people. I can't believe 33,000 people just hopped on the last 4 minutes of that. They were tuning in to see fucking Mighty Mouse or whatever was after. But, you've got basically the faithful there. For some reason, they didn't get the big number at the beginning. And so therefore, they didn't lose as much of a percentage of their audience as they normally do. But still, you've got some of the most featured people produce some of the least impressive numbers. And whether it be 100,000 people bailing on the middle of the marathon with hangnail, or whether it be, the Jericho Takeshita debacle at the end, which was the lowest point of the program practically. Well, it was the lowest point of the program.
Jericho's not going to hold people anymore, especially when you put him against someone who we really like and is really talented, but you've done nothing good with. Like, he's not booked weekly, but he's not booked well.
Oh, yes, he is.
But you know what I mean?
Very weekly.
He's not out
very
there
weekly.
He's not out there losing every week. It's just he's booked like shit nonstop.
Yes. He's booked very limply. But that
was another limp episode of AEW Dynamite. One that their fans were raving about. Dave gave 4.5 stars to a few of the matches there.
Dave gave 4.5 stars to the lowest rated segment of the program.
And said Jericho should win more.
Yeah, that would have saved it. See, all those people tuned out because they got a fucking premonition Jericho was going to lose.
The thing that's hurting AEW is Chris Jericho not being presented strongly enough. That's, of all the things, that's what's hurting AEW right now.
But, Brian, you know what the people at 10:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America were ready to do after they watched that television program, don't you?
Turn on the Channel 11 News and see what the weather is with Mr. G.
Well, it depends on what part of the country you live in, because I don't get your Channel 11, I get my Channel 11, and we don't have a Mr. G or a Master G. But I'll tell you what we do have. We do have a fine night's sleep for everybody listening out there if you get a Helix Sleep mattress. That's what we've got, because if you watch AEW on television, if you manage to take toothpicks and prop your eyelids open until the end of the thing, you're going to want something soft and comfortable and warm and inviting. And and just neighborly to just fall right into and go into snooze land, into slumber town. Take the midnight train to somnambulism. Was that a Gladys Knight and the Pips hit, or did I remember wrong? The midnight train to somnambulism.
Where in Georgia is that?
It's on the other side of Peachtree City. But anyway, folks, I'll tell you what. No other mattress company can compare to our friends at Helix Sleep, and I'll tell you why. And you may be surprised to hear this because Brian was. As a matter of fact, Brian accused me of manufacturing fictitious facts.
All these fictive facts, I said, facts. Jim.
Fictitious factoids about these issues. You did not believe that some of these outlaw mud show mattress companies out there are putting fiberglass in their mattresses. You tried to stop me. You said, no, that can't possibly be. I said, you are incorrect, sir. Yes, sir, some of these fly-by-night, you never know, these seedy, mom and pop manufacturing outlets that make the mattresses. The pop makes them and mom carries them on her back down the street. They're putting fiberglass. I wouldn't be surprised if also I thought it was asbestos, and they may have done that too. As a matter of fact, a lot of these mattress companies, ladies and gentlemen, you may not be aware of this either, just like Brian was completely ignorant of these facts. A lot of these mattress companies out there will just go up and down the side of the interstate and find things to pick up and stuff in their mattresses. Well, you could be getting spare car parts and pieces off of goddamn 18-wheelers and semi-trucks. You could be getting discarded fucking dead pets.
We should remind everyone this is not what you will get from Helix Sleep. You get the finest mattresses, and we can't confirm that any other company is using these items that you are listing.
Well, now we can't confirm it, but where does all that shit from the side of the road go? You see the prisoners pick it up, but you never see it again. It's going in these mattresses from these other companies. That's why you can only trust Helix. You don't want to be sleeping on a mattress containing a radiator from a 57 Chevy or possibly the bones or the desiccated corpse of somebody's pet poodle. You never know what you'll find on the side of the road, folks, but you know what you won't find, and that's a Helix Sleep mattress, because people, when you're driving down the road, Brian, I don't know if you live in this type of neighborhood, as you're driving down the road, you're going to see a lot of mattresses laying on the side of the road. A lot of couches, a lot of love seats, occasionally some kind of kitchen cabinetry, and mattresses people get rid of. They're too big to put in your garbage cans, so you just leave them on the side of the road. These are never Helix Sleep mattresses, because nobody that gets a Helix Sleep mattress wants to let go of it. Even if Grandpa dies on a Helix Sleep mattress, and the stench of his grisly death is still on it. Most people are just going to spray that daggum thing with some fucking Febreze and put some sheets back on it because it's a Helix and it's good.
I don't even know where to begin with this one. Most people would not do any of that. Helix Sleep is good for the whole family, whether it's grandpa or the kids or you.
But everybody's time's got to come.
But everyone dies, and people die in all sorts of places. So technically, it could be on the most comfortable mattress ever. But you don't have to worry about that. Just go to sleep and enjoy a good night's sleep. I see he's on mute. With Helix Sleep.
Yes. Just don't worry about anything. Just go to sleep. And you'll know if you wake up. It'll be a new tomorrow. Folks, just go now. Where should you go? I can't find it.
Go to sleep.
You go right now. Go to sleep.
Just go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep, little. Go to Helix Sleep. That's HELIX, helixsleep.com/JCE, and use the code HelixPartner20. HelixPartner20, and you're going to get 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows. If you go to helixsleep.com/JCE,
yeah, lady.
Lady. HelixSleep.com I'm going to do it /JCE and use the code HelixPartner20. You'll get 20% off the orders and 2 free pillows. And I'm crying. I need to wipe my face.
Well, wipe your face and, of course, go to bed with Helix Sleep.
Go to sleep and don't worry about a thing. You might wake up.
And you'll be waking up potentially on a Helix Sleep mattress. Once again, what's that promo code, Jim?
Oh, God damn it. HelixSleep.com /JCE. Use the code HelixPartner20. I think my nose is bleeding.
Well, wipe off that blood and go to sleep with Helix Sleep.